Today, we are going to have a really fun conversation with Ken. We're going to talk about 10 of the spookiest things C60 may be able to help with. Radiation exposure, whether that be from your cell phone or you're getting on the plane or there's some kind of weird, crazy disaster in the world. Tell us a little bit about C60 and how it may help if you are exposed to radiation.
Radiation I'm going to be talking about is that ionizing radiation. That's that atomic radiation. And usually what that does, it's usually like a gamma ray or a neutron or some other charged particle. And it goes in and knocks things off. And the number one oxidative radical that radiation usually makes is the hydroxyl ion. The hydroxyl ion is just a water molecule missing a proton. And C60 is that's one of its things that really works with the hydroxyls, any basic hydroxyls. It neutralizes them. C60 can do a great way of neutralizing the oxidative radicals produced by that radiation before it causes problems.
How can C60 help with some of the damage that's caused from those free radicals?
Well, for years and years, people said that electromagnetic radiation, lower level stuff, non-ionizing radiation, as they would call it, didn't have a bad thing because, like especially the quote 5Gs and a lot of the area stuff in that area where you have routers, it doesn't heat the body's tissue up very much, so it can't possibly be causing damage. Well, they've done more research and they found that this lower microwave frequency radiation can actually jam open voltage gated channels in your cell walls. And of course, if you have C60 in your cell, C60 can neutralize those superoxides and other hydroxyls produced by the calcium leaking into your cells. Another way radiation damages things is, your proteins have to fold up like origami. It's very complex sometimes. And if everything's being jostled around by a bunch of EM radiation, it can damage the folding of those proteins. So they don't fold right. And now you have a protein that's worthless, or it could even be toxic. So trying to minimize radiation exposure in your environment is good.
We're moving on to the second scariest issue that C60 may be able to help with, and that is brain fog. So Ken, talk to us a little bit about C60 and how it may help support with overall brain health.
Well, the key thing on keeping your brain healthy, obviously, if you've got oxidative damage or radicals going on, that's going to damage the processing of your neurons and it's not going to work. But probably the really number one thing that people have is energy. You have hundreds of, especially in nerve cells, there's actually thousands of little mitochondria that can make up to like 50% the mass of the cell. And these mitochondria make ATP. And if those are damaged or can't work efficiently, well, then your brain cells just don't have the energy they need to function correctly. And that's basically what brain fog is. Well, when you take C60 goes in, it passes your gut barrier, passes the blood-brain barrier, it's taken into the nerve cells, and then the mitochondria will pull that through endocytosis, pull that C60 inside of them, and they use it as a SOD catalase mimic. They will, C60 will neutralize that before it can get out and cause damage. And that's really the number one thing people notice when they first start taking C60.
The third scariest issue C60 might be able to help with, and that is fatigue or low energy. So can you talk to us a little bit about how and why C60 helps people experience more energy?
But a lot of fatigue today is actually caused by chronic fatigue. And let's get a little bit on the sciencey on this. There's acute inflammation, which is that's caused, let's say, when you twist your ankle, right? It swells up, it hurts, and it also it immobilizes it, so you don't want to move it around. But another thing that happens, most people don't know, is it actually suppresses dopamine production. And dopamine's the motivation molecule. That's literally the molecule that gets you out of bed in the morning. And of course, obviously, if your ankle is injured, you don't want, your body doesn't want you to get up and walking on it. That would not be good. But the problem is people have chronic inflammation. And that's where the problem comes in. And you have that same dopamine suppression. Well, usually inflammation, you got little white blood cells called neutrophils, and the macrophages are down there. And neutrophils actually use superoxides as machine gun bullets to take out bacteria and other nasties. And usually chronic fatigue, it's an autoimmune situation. And C60 has been found in scientific studies to make immune cells in the human body work better or work more efficiently. And that's one. And also C60 gets in there and suppresses, because usually, why are you having inflammation? It's because there's damage going on there. And damage is caused by what? Oxidative radicals, especially high energy oxidative radicals. C60 gets in there, neutralizes those oxidative radicals before they can cause damage.
Number 4 scary issue that C60 may help with, those annoying sniffles and sneezes that come with seasonal changes.
One of the things that C60 has been shown, it moderates the release of histamines in human mast cells. Actually, all of your cells will produce histamines. And so when you take C60 gets in there, the cells start operating more efficiently the way they did when you were younger. The mast cells don't do a huge release of histamines, which is what gives you the swelling and the runny nose and all that. So we already know that C60 does that. And it also strengthens the immune system so that the immune system operates more efficiently. It doesn't go into crisis mode all the time. All around, C60 can definitely help get rid of those scary allergy symptoms and all the runny noses and achiness that goes with it.
We call it oxidative stress, we call it an oxidative burden, but more commonly, it's referred to as chronic inflammation. And we covered this a little bit earlier, but Ken, talk to us specifically about how C60 can help promote a balanced inflammatory response and not one that's a giant overreaction.
The problem is you get chronic inflammation, and there's a whole bunch of different reasons for chronic inflammation. A lot of that is due to the gut, because the gut's the number one cause of inflammation there. And it's usually what happens is the gut cells are not turning over correctly. And so you're getting leakage in the gut. And so things that shouldn't be in the body are leaking in from the gut, of course, which that causes inflammation. And then the inflammation causes cytokines, macrophages to go there that release cytokines, which cause more inflammation. And so you got this kind of a runaway situation. So when you take C60 kind of moderates release of histamines from mast cells. It also makes the function of things like macrophages increase. But one of the greatest things of C60 in long term is it increases stem cell levels in the body. So once your stem cell levels rise with the use of C60 over time, then the problems in your gut go way down. And now your gut's efficiently working, and that's the number one cause of inflammation. Now, there's other things too.
The 6th scary issue is exposure to toxic free radicals.
Literally, there are various species of oxygen molecules which cause rusting of your cells, basically. Like, for instance, 65% of the oxidative radicals that you're actually going to be facing in your cell come from the cell itself, come from the mitochondria. So if your mitochondria aren't functioning and have the necessary levels of antioxidants, then you can definitely have problems there. And that's one of the core sources, and that's internal. Another thing is a lot of toxins that break down in your body actually produce oxidative radicals as they break down, because they're usually high energy molecules. And when you snap those bonds, they produce, high energy oxidative radicals. And C60 is very good at neutralizing that. And that basically C60 neutralizes the oxidative radicals that are produced in the breakdown of toxic substances. And in that way, C60 can protect the body against the damaging effects of these oxidative radicals.
Number 7, the 7th scary issue C60 may be able to help you with is discomfort and soreness, or DOMS, after workout.
Well, one of the things is when you start exercising, that demands of your cells more energy. And then the cells will send out messages to the mitochondria. The mitochondria, the powerhouses that make ATP. And so that's their little furnaces, as they churn up and make all this energy to run to get to whatever exercise you're doing, they produce these oxidative radicals. And actually, it's when these oxidative radicals overwhelm the body's antioxidants, what you get is lactic acid buildup. And so the lactic acid just starts building up. It kind of interferes with the Krebs cycle that makes your ATP. And at some point, you just don't have the energy to go on, right? Until the lactic acid levels drop back down, and then you can exercise again. And this is where C60 comes in, because C60 is taken into the mitochondria. And if the mitochondria ramp up, they're making a lot of that superoxide, a lot of the hydroxyl ions. C60 can help neutralize a lot of those before they happen, before they get out of the mitochondria into the cell where they can cause damage.
The next scary issue that C60 may be able to help with, number 8, is aging. Specifically, people who are dealing with the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Help us understand specifically, when applied topically, how C60 can help lessen the appearance of these fine lines and wrinkles that are associated with aging that none of us like.
That what C60 does, it increases stem cell production. And what you do is your skin cells turn over, and they turn over a lot. And you need stem cells to replace the ones that are going away, right? And as you get older, your stem cell levels go down. So your ability to replace the skin cells goes down and the skin gets thinner. And that's basically what's causing the wrinkles. And now those stem cells that you have can go to help make more, because stem cells are baby cells. They can be anything, right? And if you need more skin cells, those stem cells turn into skin cells, and that makes your skin thicker, which reduces lines and wrinkles.
The next scary issue that C60 may be able to help with has to do with those cracks and pops that as we age, we feel in our various bones and joints.
Part of that, of course, is that you have to do, and really a critical key things that C60 can help, but it is not a magic bullet, and that is exercise. Everybody needs to be doing exercise as you get older, and the older you get, the more sort of exercise you need, and also you have to do it properly. So that's the first thing. But now we're getting our exercise. Well, C60 is great on this. You got your exercise, you got your nutrition, and C60, it can do two things really. Well, obviously it makes inflammation, it DOMS, that delayed onset muscle soreness, and the other thing is the stem cells. To maintain muscle mass, you need stem cells to go in there and help build your muscles, or especially cartilage and things like that, which C60 is also very good at. And of course, a third thing is your hormone levels. But so you got to have that base of androgens. And of course, the androgens come from pregnenolone, which is produced in your mitochondria. So you got to have healthy mitochondria. And healthy mitochondria are really the key to good cellular health.
Declining performance, and you can define this however you want. It might be declining mental performance, it might be declining athletic performance. So, Ken, will you talk a little bit about how C60 helps to support performance as we age?
I mean, the number one thing you need in performance, obviously, is energy. And where does energy come from? Energy in your body and your cells comes from ATP, adenylene triphosphate. And where does that come? That comes from the mitochondria. And so the basis for energy for all of that, performance comes from high performing mitochondria. And one of the things as we age, there are certain internal antioxidants that our cells produce that go down as we age. And of course, there is CoQ10. Now you can supplement for that, and you should be. Another is glutathione. You can supplement for that. And then there is SOD and catalase. And these are produced internally in your cells, and they can't be supplemented for. But fortunately, C60 is a mimic. It does the job of SOD and catalase in dealing with superoxide in one step. When those SOD and catalase levels rise, along with the other things that hopefully you're supplementing for, then your mitochondria can function more efficiently, produce more ATP, and of course, your performance will go up. Taking C60 long term to repair a lot of that internal structure, so you'll get an increase in performance in the short term, but over long term, you'll also see a long-term increase in performance and endurance.
For those of you out there, if you're concerned about any of these spooky issues, feel free to check out C60 Power. You can find us at shopc60.com. And if you like this type of content, please like, share, and subscribe, and pass this video on to a friend who might be able to benefit from this information. Thanks so much.